This conference will now be recorded.
Hello, and thank you for joining my micro-training on site-to-site VPNs. My name is David Mendenhall. I'm with GigaNetworks. I'm a PCNSE certified engineer working with Palo Alto Networks devices for the last 14 years. What's a site-to-site VPN? Why would we use it? Well, there's a desire in many cases to create an extension of your network into other organizations or into other locations. And a site-to-site VPN is a convenient, secure way to implement this. There are a number of prerequisites I'm going to ask you to have before we venture into the creation of the site-to-site VPN in this lab. The first one is that you have a good understanding of how to navigate a Palo Alto Networks next generation firewall. Secondly, you have at least two firewalls configured, and those two firewalls that we're going to be testing with have a communication between each site. The public address and the external zones can reach each other, and you verify that through a ping. Finally, the intra-zone default rule is not shadowed by security policy and not changed because we do need to have allowed communication to make the port 500 communication operate. So we're going to open up a number of windows. We're going to have a window open for our Firewall 1, Firewall 2, our GUIs, CLIs, command line interfaces for Firewall 1 and Firewall 2. We're going to verify when we have the CLI open that we can communicate between two, just to verify that that prerequisite is completed. Because if we do not have communication between the two sites, we're going to have a problem with testing. The next, the learning objective. So we're going to figure out how to configure an interface and a tunnel interface, an IP address for that, using the IP addresses for the communication between the two sites. And we're going to create an IP gateway. We're going to use the default IPsec tunnel information for the cryptographic profiles, and we're going to verify the configuration of the VPN tunnel in the operation. Site to site, again, I mentioned that was for privacy between locations, and this is PanOS, Palo Alto Network operating system uses a route-based IPsec VPN. We can learn more about route-based versus policy-based in future education sessions. The management interface, I suggest you write down your management interface for all of your devices you're going to be using. So the management interface and your external IP addresses, those will be very handy. So the first step we're going to do is we're going to go ahead into zones, network zones, and we're going to go ahead and add a layer 3 zone. Remember that a layer 3 zone is a zone that is for tunnels, as well as for a layer 3 interfaces and loopbacks. So we're going to call this IPsec for IPsec. We're going to say OK. We're going to do the same thing on the other box, IPsec, IPsec. I'm going to say OK after we select layer 3. And then we'll have those in there. All right, next step. We're going to go ahead into tunnel interfaces. So we're going to go to network interfaces, network interfaces. We're going to click on tunnel. And we're going to add those. The tunnel interfaces, this has an arbitrary number on the upper right-hand side. I usually use 1 to start with, but you can use anything you wish. You have to select the virtual router as Palo Alto Networks next generation firewall comes default with default virtual router. I just select that. The zone we are going to select is the zone that we just created, which is called IPsec. I'm going to say OK, OK. Step. On the IKE gateway page, which is under network profiles, IKE gateways, we're going to select that, open that up, and we're going to add in a gateway for each. We're going to call that IKE gateway. And we're going to use our interface Ethernet 1.1, which is our external interface on both. We're going to select the drop down right below it, which gives you an IP address, and then we're going to put in the peer, the alternate side, its neighbor, and that person's IP address. So we're going to do the same thing here on the other one. Ethernet 1.1, we're going to click down for the IP address, and we're going to say the peer address is 192.168.255.158. Pre-shared key, we're going to make it simple. I'm just going to A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4. A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4. The same, these have to match. If they don't match, then the phase 1 will not come up. It will not trust the other side. So those need to match. You say, OK, OK. and go to the next step. IPsec tunnel. So we just click IPsec tunnel on both of these. There's no IPsec tunnel yet, so we're going to click add on both. We're going to name it to remote. And we're going to select the tunnel interface, tunnel 1, which we created earlier, tunnel 1, which we created earlier. We're going to select the iGateway, which we created earlier, gateway, which we created earlier. I'm going to say OK on both. Next step. We're going to commit. So we're going to hit commit button, say commit. I'm going to hit commit button, say commit. Once the commit is completed, we're going to look at the CLI. And the command line interface will show us if we have the opportunity to create an up IPsec VPN. So we're waiting for this commit to complete. We can pre-populate the command. You'll want TEST for test, VPN because we're doing a VPN, IPsec SA, and I did a tab complete, as you know. Notice it went really quickly. Tunnel, and to remote, which is our tunnel name. It's not there yet because we're not at 100%. And in fact, it'll show up when we hit about 99% on this one. There, it's there. We'll wait just a second to make sure that the commit is completed. It'll tell us it's completed instead of result pending. And we'll hit return. Now we'll up arrow, go to the front of this inside. Instead of test, we'll do show. And we have a up interface. You can see the green lights and everything's fantastic. So what did we learn? We learned that you can create an IPsec tunnel in 10 minutes or less. And the IPsec tunnel VPN, there's no next hop required, and you need a local tunnel interface, which has to be layer 3, and it has to be in a security zone. That's all for now. Thank you very much for joining. Have a great one. Bye-bye.